Yes, well, against that catalogue of weather stories you just mentioned there, two contrasting timetables. Tomorrow marks 100 days to that vital climate conference in Glasgow, billed by many as a last chance for humanity to really cut its carbon pollution. But in 50 days, the government could get a recommendation to open up a major oil field to the west of these islands. Now, by any stretch of the imagination, that is, how can I put it, politically awkward.
Momentum is building across Scotland, from the oil terminals and wild coasts of Shetland.
No new oil, keep the carbon in the soil.
Through protests down in Edinburgh this week, to Greenpeace making their case out in the North Sea itself, and on the quayside in Scotland's oil capital, Aberdeen. 100 days out from the most important climate crisis summit ever, is the UK government really about to allow Cambo, a massive new oil and gas field off Shetland?
In 100 days, the government is set to host the global climate talks in Glasgow, and Boris Johnson is setting himself up for humiliation on the international stage if he allows this permit for oil and gas drilling to go ahead.
The Cambo field, about 80 miles west off Shetland's unspoiled coast, 800 million barrels of oil, equivalent to running 16 coal-fired power stations for a year. The respected International Energy Agency says all new gas and oil drilling must stop if we're to meet our climate goals. And just this week, the US climate czar came close to endorsing just that.
I'm mindful of what the IEA has said, that we don't need new oil and gas coal projects.
But 100 days from the Global Climate Summit, the UK oil and gas industry says they're all wrong.
The important point to remember is, as you look ahead, oil and gas will be needed for years to come. You look at the Committee on Climate Change report, 75% of the energy demand is satisfied by oil and gas today. So the point is, we need to make sure we can satisfy that demand, albeit as it declines. And projects like Cambo are absolutely vital to doing that.
Not only that, they're serving notice tonight. They want to open up entirely new UK oil fields.
In a UK context, we do need to keep drilling and exploring, because we need to ensure that we have enough oil and gas to satisfy the demand that the Committee on Climate Change is still saying. I'm saying that in a UK context, we do need to keep doing that.
Against that, scientists, campaigners and researchers are lining up, like Shetlander Miriam Brett from the think tank Commonwealth.
We know that we are going to need some oil and gas for our future. What we haven't actually done is untap the incredible resources of our renewable potential. And that's what we need to see just now. The more we ramp that up, the less need that we have on the oil and gas industry.
And there's enough oil and gas already to see us through the transition?
Yes, we have incredible renewable capacity, incredible.
But a major planning loophole now means the government could greenlight the Cambo field off Shetland without undergoing new tests on climate compatibility. The Aberdeen office of Siccar Point Energy, they want to drill the field with Shell. Both refuse to be interviewed. Both say we need oil as we transition to renewables. Shell was recently forced in court to cut their pollution by 45%.
Normally, major planning decisions are all about councils and public inquiries, but the oil and gas industry is completely different. Here, with a new oil field, there's a public consultation, and then the issue to recommend building a new field or not is taken behind closed doors by an industry body, the OGA, the Oil and Gas Authority.
The OGA also refused to be interviewed, leaving Oil and Gas UK to argue that if Cambo doesn't happen, we'll have to import oil and gas.
Far better to have that with our homegrown industry, with our own jobs, putting our own investment in, supporting our own security of supply, than offshoring that, where we would offshore any emissions associated with it, and we would offshore our responsibilities.
12,000 oil and gas jobs have gone in the last year alone in Scotland. Transitioning people into work in clean, renewable energy should be everywhere here, but key unions say it's just not happening.
We keep hearing that carbon capture, hydrogen production, manufacturing of turbines will come. But we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it in Scotland. We hear about green ports. We're not seeing it in Scotland. We're still waiting. And these guys can't wait.
To drill or not to drill, that is the question. The answer due in a few weeks. The UK hosts the coming climate summit 100 days from tomorrow, and the world is watching.
So take a little bit of advice, stay out of the bookies, don't make any bets on the government taking this decision this side of that vital climate conference in Glasgow in November. Well, a little earlier I spoke to someone whose organisation you may have heard mentioned in that report, the IEA, the International Energy Agency. He is, without question, one of the most singularly significant people in the entire climate debate that's going on at the moment and is getting more and more intense. And I asked him straight up, how can any government sink or drill a new oil or gas well in the middle of a climate crisis?
We are extremely clear here. If we want to reach net zero target in 2050, namely to have a temperature increase maximum 1.5 degrees Celsius, which would provide still a livable planet for us, we have to reduce the consumption of oil, gas and coal substantially. And if we reduce the consumption of oil in line with what is needed to reach those targets, we will not need to invest in new oil or gas exploration or new coal mining. Very clear. We do not need anymore explore, discover new oil reserves. The ones we have already today are more than enough to meet the demand.
You hope the government will say no to this field, therefore?
If UK wants to be a source of inspiration for the rest of the world, which it has been up to now, I hope that the UK government will continue to do so, and this decision will be an important step in that direction.
We interviewed the boss of the UK oil and gas industry's industry body, and she says not only should we exploit this oil field, but we should continue exploring for new oil and gas fields.
My view is very clear. A new global energy system is emerging in front of our eyes, and the industry, citizens, governments who are able to see what is happening now will be in a good position, and the colleagues who are not able to see, who are not able to read the game, may well be not in a good position and not helpful to reach our energy and climate goals.
The industry says we can't switch over to electricity. We can't go green immediately. We're dependent on some degree of oil and gas for decades. We have to drill new fields to sustain that process. Is that true?
It is true that tomorrow we will still need oil, the day after tomorrow as well. But if we are serious, this is the key issue, are we serious to reach our climate goals, or it is a lip service? If we are serious, we will still need oil, but less and less every day. And the level of oil we would still use in 2050, 2040 may well be met from the existing fields we have today. You are a very serious nation, very serious government. I am sure you will be able to fulfill the promises that you are making now, and be a source of inspiration for the other countries that are going to come to Glasgow.
Fatih Birol speaking to me earlier, and it's quite clear that whether the government takes this decision before or after that vital climate conference, it's going to be watched with great intensity around the world. Back to you.